Buddhism is a world religion founded by the Buddha in ancient India. Buddhists seek wisdom, meaning, inner peace, and freedom from greed, hatred, and ignorance. Mutually sustaining life, a Buddhist call to a troubled world.
To conquer oneself is a greater victory than to conquer thousands in battle.
Hello, it's a pleasure to have you join us for today's show. Today, we are continuing our discussion on the fourth mark of existence, which is nirvana is peaceful and tranquil, or rephrased, life can be great. In this show, I will use a more colloquial expression, life can be great. The expression life can be great reveals two things. First, it tells us that when this state is realized, one experiences far less suffering and far more happiness than previously experienced. For his or her life becomes imbued with the qualities, as discussed in our previous show, of joy, generosity, compassion, curiosity, truthfulness, serenity, equanimity, wakefulness, one-pointedness, and impeccability. This is what is meant by great. Secondly, we have phrased it, life can be great and not life is great. The reason goes to the heart of Buddhist awakening, which calls for individuals to take the initiative to change from within. With this internal change or transformation, a person experiences his or her life as being great. So, we are not making a blanket statement about all life for all people, since we are not in a position to speak for others. That is why I have stressed the can in life can be great, and have tried not to be presumptuous to say life is great. This leads me to the point I wish to emphasize today. That is, the change must come from within. Buddhism helps us to change the way we see the world and ourselves. When we change within, it changes the way we see the outside world and how we act in it. In one of the earlier shows, I shared a joke about a monk and a hot dog. And today, I'd like to complete the second half, which pertains to today's topic. I'll start from the beginning. Well, a Buddhist monk wanted a hot dog. So he walked over to a hot dog vendor on a busy street corner. The vendor asked, "What would you like, sir?" The monk answered, "Make me one with everything." Just to make sure you got it, let me explain. The conventional meaning is that he wanted one hot dog with all the condiments. For example, mustard, ketchup, diced onion, relish, sauerkraut. In other words, make me one hot dog with everything on it. But the deeper meaning points to a religious experience where a person feels at one with the universe in a peak religious experience associated with a state of awakening in Buddhism. So in other words, make me one with everything. Now, let me tell you the second half of the joke that I didn't talk about before. Well, after getting the hot dog, the monk gives the vendor a $20 bill. But even after a while, he didn't get his change back. The monk waited patiently a little longer, but finally, a bit flustered, he asked, "What about my change?" The vendor faced the monk and replied, "Sir, the change must come from within." The joke about a monk and a hot dog is a reminder that spiritual transformation or change must come from within, the heart of today's topic. To illustrate this point, there is a wonderful story about a sailor lost at sea. I grew up hearing this story being told in our temples in California. No one seems to know when or where it came from, but it's had an enormous influence on my personal understanding. At night, a ship leaves the port of a tropical island. After many hours on the high seas, a sailor falls overboard. No one on the ship notices that the man is missing, and the ship sails on its way. The water is chilly, and the waves are choppy. It is hauntingly dark. The sailor paddles frantically to keep afloat. He then starts to swim toward an island he saw before he fell overboard. He soon loses all sense of direction, so he is not sure if he's even heading in the right direction. Although he is a good swimmer, his arms and legs soon grow weary. His breathing becomes labored, and he gasps for air. The sailor feels lost and totally alone in the middle of the ocean. He realizes that this could be the end for him. Despair overcomes him, and his energy begins to drain from him like sand from an hourglass. He begins to choke on the water hitting his face, and he can feel his body being dragged under. At this instant, he recalls the teaching of non-attachment, which calls for the act of letting go. He then ceases his struggle to swim under his own power. Instead, he turns over on his back with his limbs outstretched as if he were in a backyard hammock on a lazy summer afternoon. As he does so, the ocean holds him afloat without any effort on his part. The ocean that was ready to drag him under now caresses him. The sailor is overjoyed. He is also grateful to know that he is all right. He soon realizes that he was fine all along. He just didn't know it. The ocean had not changed at all, but rather, by changing his thinking, the sailor's relationship with the ocean had changed. The sea changed from being a dangerous and frightening enemy to a friend who embraced and supported him. The sailor knows that he cannot stay afloat forever in the middle of the ocean. If he had no obligations in the world, maybe he could afford to stay and rest in this joyful calm. But the image of his wife and small children waiting anxiously at home inspires him to try to reach the shore. He begins to swim as before, but with one important difference. He now trusts the ocean as he would a caring and protective loved one. He knows that whenever he becomes tired, he can let go and the ocean will support him. More importantly, he now knows that while he swims, it is the power of the ocean, not his own power, that keeps him afloat. Yes, he moves his limbs to swim, but he has learned he can stay afloat by not struggling to do so. Now that he feels safe in the arms of the sea, the sailor can think about finding the island. He studies the position of the stars and the moon and the direction of the wind. Using his nautical training, he imagines where the island might be and moves toward it. He has no absolute guarantee that he is swimming in the right direction, but the sailor is now sure that the ocean will not let him drown and that eventually he will reach the island. So, what are the main points of this parable? First of all, what saved the sailor from drowning was not some outside divine help. We don't find him looking beyond himself for an answer to his dilemma. As he recalls the teaching of non-attachment, he remembers to abandon the notion that he had to be in total control. It was then that he relaxed and let go of his striving. And when he let go of his reliance on his own power, he discovered the supportive power of the ocean. So it was the change from within that saved him. Then he discovers that the ocean had transformed from an enemy to a friend. Before his change from within, the ocean seemed ready to pull him under, but after the change, he found the ocean to be supportive and caring. The interesting point is that the ocean had not changed at all. It was the same ocean, but because he had changed, the ocean had also changed. This change gave the sailor a very important gift: confidence. So when he started to swim back home, he now had the confidence in the ocean that it would not fail him. Whenever he got tired, he would simply let go and relax. This assurance gave him more space in his heart and mind, allowing him to fully exercise all his knowledge and ability to find his way home. He was able to see more, listen fully, and think better. If you are confronted by difficulty in your life, please see if you can apply the teaching of changing from within. Sometimes we take on so much and get overwhelmed by all the expectations. In such a case, perhaps you sometimes need to let go like the drowning sailor. And you'll probably find that an organization or a cause you are so involved in will go on just fine. If you are having difficulties with a relationship, perhaps it might be good for you to look within and see if there are attitudes or opinions that you could change. By so changing, you will probably find some opening in the other person for reconciliation. If life is not offering what you expected, then let go of your striving and turn over on your back like the sailor. You are bound to discover people and things that are physically and spiritually supporting your very existence, from the air that we breathe to the breathtaking beauty of nature, as well as the people who care about you. Then for you, life becomes a friend and not an enemy. You can then resume your swim with greater confidence and creativity. Next week, we're planning an exciting show featuring Buddhist children's songs. Please tune in and have a great week.
We at Bukkyo Dendo Kyokai pursue peace and happiness for people around the world. We have published the Buddhist teachings into 41 languages and donated our publication to hotels and other facilities in 55 countries. We would like to share the Buddhist teachings with people around the world. That's our mission. Visit our website for more information